Greetings and welcome to the Power Gamer Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Dawson, joined as always by fellow host, Johnny Poulos.
Yo.
Johnny, what you got for me this week? How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. Had a gig last weekend. I got 2 gigs this weekend. So music stuff's going well.
Where are you playing this upcoming weekend?
Let's see. Hold on.
Remember, we said last week you got to get back in the habit of telling people, and then I just
throw it on the calendar.
One night I was like, I wonder what Johnny's up to. Go on Facebook Live at full tilt. I'm like, son of a bitch.
I'm playing Mamma Mia's Friday, which is on the Eastern Shore. It's a little far for you.
Yeah.
But I'm playing Red Eye Happy Hour, 3:30 to 7:30 Saturday.
Okay, we'll be there.
Out on the deck. Yeah, it'll be nice. Yep, I love playing there. It's so fun. So many people. Everybody's really cool. Good tips. If the weather's nice, it's gonna be really cool.
Yeah, the food also doesn't suck. So got it.
Garden is kicking all sorts of ass.
Oh yeah.
And my external hard drive that I've had on my PlayStation 4 for I think 6 or 7 years finally kicked the bucket. It's not officially broken, but it's like when this game stops opening and you're like, oh, that's weird. It's never done that before. And then a week later, another game's not opening. You're like, all right, I'm just going to get a new drive.
You said this is on your PS4?
It was the drive I used on the PS4, and I ported it over to the PS5.
Okay.
So it's the drive that holds on my PS4 games. And hard drives are so cheap nowadays. I mean, I got a 5 terabyte for, I think, $115 or something like that. So it's like...
Yeah, they're really cheap.
It's like, screw it. So I bought like the nice Western Digital game drive, and it's 5 terabytes, and my poor PlayStation has been literally downloading games for like 4 days straight.
Yeah, because the PlayStation Store also infamously does not transfer data very quickly either.
No, and I have the PlayStation app on my phone, so like all fucking day long, my phone is like, Rise of Tomb Raider is ready to play. 30 minutes later, Stranded Deep is ready to play. 25 minutes later, like it's just all fucking day. It's like, I've downloaded this, I've downloaded that. Like, I know, it's 124 games, dude. Just you don't need to keep telling me. Just do it.
Yeah, so another week of unexcitement for me, sir. I think I might be caught in a weird space-time continuum, because I swear to God it feels like yesterday we recorded last week's episode. And
yeah, last week did go by quick. It does feel like it was like 2-3 days ago we did this.
Yeah, and here I am again, and so I don't even know.
But
I don't
hey,
know what's going on.
It's episode 18. Our podcast is old enough to buy cigarettes now.
Yeah, my world will get turned upside down in 2 weeks when I get on a plane for Cleveland. But outside of that, it's just I don't know what I'm doing. I have no idea. I actually guess I know somewhat what I've been doing, because I've actually been doing what we're supposed to be doing as hosts of this show. So as you said, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Power Gamer Podcast. It is episode 18. We're going to jump right into it on that one. Our first segment here, what we're playing this week. So maybe part of the reason why I don't know what's happening in the real world is because of the incredible amount of time I've spent playing Mass Effect, the new Legendary Edition. I think I mentioned last week that I'd beaten 1 and platinumed it. And then reporting this week, I have beaten 2 and platinumed it, and I'm 26 hours into Mass Effect 3. So since it's come out, 2 weeks ago? I mean, it hasn't been out terribly long. Hang on, I have over 100 hours into it.
I was gonna say you're almost full-time jobbing it at this point.
So that's probably why I have no idea what the fuck's going on.
Hey, man, there's a galaxy to save. What are you going to do, you know?
because I'm down here reliving 2006 to 2011 and just loving every second of it. I really can't stress enough how this is one of my favorite game franchises ever. And I love everything about it. It's been, getting through Mass Effect 1 and 2 was really easy for me. I feel like getting the 100% on both of those games in 80 hours is probably a pretty decent pace for somebody that's like
I would
not
say
a
so.
speedrunner. But what's been really cool is I've realized that with Mass Effect 3, I didn't really give that game a fair shake. I think I just kind of sat down, nailed through the main quests, and beat it once. And that was it. And like this time, because I'm trying to platinum all 3 games, I feel like I'm seeing tons and tons and tons and tons of content that I hadn't seen before. And it's just absolutely fantastic. The things that I recognize are like the story mission levels that were also the multiplayer levels for Mass Effect 3, because I did play an absolute ton of the multiplayer on Mass Effect 3 when that game was out. Back on PC, like I think it was right when like Origin was released for EA, like that was brand new, and Mass Effect 3 came out. Like I still have that copy of Mass Effect 3 at my desk actually from when it came out on PC, and you still bought like physical copies of PC games. But yeah, it's really good. People, if you've enjoyed Mass Effect, please go buy these. Go buy the Legendary Edition and experience it at 4K and 60 frames per second. The PC version does blow the fuck away the PS4 version, but still, I had to pinch myself and remember that the first time I played through the series on 360, I was playing it on a little, 20-inch Apex 4:3 aspect ratio CRT television. So, it's awesome. It's really, really awesome. And I can't wait to come back maybe next week's episode and tell everyone how I've gotten every single trophy between all 3 games, because I'm moving in that direction.
Yeah, you're definitely a man on a mission, that's for sure.
Yeah. So I guess that's why I don't know what's happening. I've spent all my free time playing Mass Effect. So that's good. Johnny, you didn't make it online much for your streams over at Twitch.
No, I did not.
TV Hell Hero H3LL H3RO. But you did, however, get on long enough to allow me to witness you putting a period on Returnal.
Goddamn right.
You did it. You beat Returnal.
Yeah, I fucking did it.
What'd you think?
I still really enjoyed this game. I know your feelings are not strong on it. I felt the ending was a little ambiguous, and I'm really curious to see what a sequel would look like, and hopefully explain more. It didn't really explain a whole lot as far as what's actually happening. There's a lot of internet theories and YouTube videos on people's different interpretations, but there's no clear answer of like what actually is the end. I'm not going to spoil it for anybody, but I had a hell of a run, and I felt like that's all I needed in this game, was just to have a really, really, really solid run through the 4th world to where I had a lot of health and a lot of good power-ups and shit. And that's where I was. I had more than double my bonus health. And I had a weapon that I really liked, and I just fucking kept on trucking. And, blasted through the game. And now I've found out that there is more story to be told. There is a different ending if you collect these other items and such. So I don't think I'm going to be going too hard at it, but I have to admit, 3-4 days after I beat it, I did feel like playing Returnal some more, and I put it in, and I went back to exploring and unlocking more data cubes, and I don't think it's definitely not going to be like Hades where there's a ton more stuff. I feel like there's probably one more little secret ending and a couple little reveals, nothing major. But I think I'm still gonna play it. I was under the impression originally that I'm gonna beat the game and then I'm gonna fucking trade it in or sell it or whatever. But I still enjoy playing the game, so I'm not bored with it yet. So I did play a little bit of Returnal. Glad I beat it though. Whew, man, that was
you and me both.
That was a badge. That was a badge of honor to earn.
Like, if I could put together a montage of all the clips I took of you raging out at this game, like, it's really, and I'm sure folks listening can relate to this, like, hearing somebody reflect back on a game that they beat, where your good memory of finishing it seems to blot out all the bad memories, all the anger, all of the rage. It's like all the negative shit that you went through to get there. But maybe that's just because like going through all that punishment makes the ending feel more rewarding? Question mark?
Yes. Yeah, no, the lows are very low and the highs are very high. My favorite clip you took, by the way, is when I said, and I quote, "This game can suck all of my dicks, every last one of them." I think that was my favorite quote about Returnal.
Yeah, that clip's definitely still up on your channel. That wasn't that long ago.
I'm also playing Empires and Puzzles, per your recommendation.
You got my game?
I did. I'm enjoying it a little bit. I think I'm on like the 4th or 5th world. I haven't spent any real money on it. I have a Google survey app that pops up, I don't know, 3-4 times a week and goes, "Hey, how was your trip to whatever, Best Buy?" Right. Did you go into Best Buy? Yes. Did you make a purchase? Yes, I did. Did you use a credit card or debit? I used debit. Do you have a copy of your receipt? No. Okay, here's 42 cents to your Google account. And that's literally all this app does. It just puts money into your Google account, and it's official Google app, so like I know it's not ripping anything off, but so yeah, I think I spent $3 or $4 out of my fake Google account money on the game, but I haven't spent any real dollars on it yet, and I don't really get the sense that it's going to force me to. So I'm having fun with it. It's a fun puzzle game. I'm interested to see if it holds my attention. So far, so good.
And you'll have to find yourself a little leveling clan to join up with. Yeah, for sure.
And then
when you start doing the the Titan raids and stuff like that, which you can do like basically right away.
They
don't lock you out of all the end game shit. Like you can do raids and wars basically right away. So find yourself a little leveling guild, clan, whatever they call it, and doing like just being in a clan that's active and doing those things will help you level up a lot faster. So
got it. Okay, all right, I'll look into that. And then another game. So listeners, if you're a PlayStation owner, you need to go on the PlayStation Store right now and you need to look at the indie sale that they have going on right now. It's something ridiculous, like 1,200 games are on sale. I went on a little bit of a buying spree. I got Untitled Goose Game. I got Wolf Among Us, which I've already played on PC, but I think my wife would really enjoy, and it was on sale for $4. It's my favorite Telltale game. If you've ever played a Telltale game and you like that format of adventure game, The Wolf Among Us is fucking amazing. So that was on sale for $4. And another game that has been on my Steam wish list since before it came out, Other Side, OTHERCIDE. It's an XCOM style tactical strategy game. I didn't play it much because I fired it up and I did the tutorial, and then it became clear that this is a tactical roguelike. And I've had my fill of roguelikes for a little while. So I played the game for about 30 minutes and was like, I am not diving back into a roguelike. So I'm going to come back to it. But the graphic style on this game is so cool. The entire game is black and white except for things that are red. So the color format is nothing but black, white, and red, and it's very striking, very cool. It's an XCOM.
I always thought was really cool. And do you remember the game the Saboteur from 10, 12 years ago?
It also reminded me of there was a Wii game that was really gory and bloody that was black and white except the blood was red, and I can't remember the name of it.
Oh yeah, where you have the sword. And,
yeah, you had like a chainsaw or something. I don't remember. I just remember it was really gory, and the graphics were literally black, white, and red.
It'll come to me in a second. Yeah. So I guess, anything else you've been playing this week, or does that about round it out?
That's about it. I think this week, The Last of Us 2. I know I keep saying that, but I think I was
looking for it. I'm like, I feel like it just hasn't caught you at the right point in time, and you're just going to miss this game completely.
Well, I dove headfirst into Bo Burnham's Netflix special, which I've watched 3 times now, so that's kind of where I've been. But we'll touch on that later. Yes,
we are going to talk about the Bo Burnham special Inside quite a bit later. So the game I think you were trying to think of, by the way, was it No More Heroes?
No, I'll Google it and figure it out right now.
Okay, my brain is saying No More Heroes, but you know what? No, that wasn't the one that was black and white. I know the game that you're talking about. Yeah, for the life
Mad
of me,
World.
There it is. I was about to say, for the life of me, I cannot think of it. Well, very good. So yeah, that basically rounds it out for me as well. It's been a heavy dose of Mass Effect, and yeah. Besides that, just Empires and Puzzles, the good old toilet time game. So that's been about it for me. Well, very good. Let's go ahead and move on then to we're going to kind of bring back a little bit of an old segment, but in an abridged version. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing Feature 5. We're going to talk about 5 stories that came out this past week that we think you should know about. So let's get it started. Number 5, one of my one-ups from a few weeks ago has come up in the news, and I am sorry to report that Jupiter's Legacy, the TV show on Netflix, it has been canceled. There will be no season 2 of Jupiter's Legacy, which is kind of a bummer because it ended on a really big cliffhanger. However, I would still recommend that you all out there watch Jupiter's Legacy because the main storyline it does of introducing the characters back in the Depression era, that played out in its entirety on the show. And all in all, the show was still pretty good. So I would say, yeah, if you haven't watched it yet, go ahead. But unfortunately, Jupiter's Legacy will not be getting a season 2. I think you had watched a couple episodes of it. Did you ever get any further with it, Johnny, or did you sort of lose interest?
No, I mean, I haven't finished it. I think I'm halfway through. I didn't really fully lose interest. I just haven't dove back in. And I think what's killing these Netflix shows is that more of these shows from other streaming services are giving us weekly, and this lets hype build up. It's like you watch the first episode and you're like, oh, this is pretty good. And you mention it to a coworker at work and you tell your friend about it. And they're like, oh, maybe I'll check it out. And then the second episode comes out and you're like, oh, shit. You're like, dude, did you start watching that show yet? No, I haven't yet. And then by the time you're at episode 4, you're like, dude, you really got to catch up, man. This show's so good. The problem with the Netflix format, the binge format, is that there's no discussion anymore. Like, I mean, when Stranger Things season 3 came out, it was amazing, and everyone watched it, and then no one talked about it because we all binged it like the week it came out, and that was it. There's no discussion. There's no hype. There's no nothing. It's just the season comes out, and it either sinks or swims, and, oh, well, this one sunk, move on. Now, they have announced that they're going to do another Mark Millar show. I can't remember the name of it, but it's based on the villains in the same universe of Jupiter's Legacy. I can't remember the name of it, but that's officially in production and is still happening. So I don't know if they're going to try to tie those two together. Maybe that gets some hype, and then maybe they bring Jupiter's Legacy back. I don't know, but I guess time will tell.
Yep. So number 4, this is another bit of a callback. I want to say maybe somewhere in the first 10 episodes we talked about like there being an official mark that was crossed across all platforms, that the majority of gamers had actually shifted in the balance from male to female, where most gamers these days are female, which was, I would say somewhat understandable, especially with the rise of Nintendo Switch, and games that were more targeted towards a female audience. Which certainly makes up still a large portion of gamers that are out there. Well, I am pleased to announce that it came out this week that on PlayStation, almost half of the gamer base for PlayStation are women. Looking at pushsquare.com, they were reporting that in part of a presentation to its Sony's investors, they had noted that approximately 41% of PS5 and PS4 owners are women now. Johnny, what do you think about this?
I mean, we did talk about it before, but this is a slightly different conversation because
it's a completely different context. Yeah,
because now we're talking about video game consoles. I mean, when we had this discussion before, I was bringing up points like, think about the mothers playing Candy Crush and think about, stuff like that. But this is females dropping $500-$600 on a console. That's not nothing. And I think the video game industry needs to fucking take note. And I will say in the latest roster of games in the last year or two, and in new releases coming out, there seems to be a lot more female protagonists, and it's about goddamn time.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess certainly worth mentioning is, games on PlayStation certainly they require a lot more of like the motor skills that are typically seen as being behind the wall. Right. Moving with the left stick, controlling the camera with the right stick. Games like Horizon, Last of Us, Bloodborne, Uncharted, God of War. And, those are the games that are being played. And, I mean, think about that list that I actually just ran through and tell me what a lot of them have in common. Like Horizon, Last of Us, Uncharted, God of War. I mean, all of these games, Sony has sort of quietly done a good job of inserting really strong, kick-ass female protagonists. You have Aloy in Horizon. You have Ellie, who is arguably the badass of all time in Last of Us.
Shout out to Celine from Returnal.
Uncharted, you have Chloe, Freya from the God of War series. It's just one after another, and it's sort of like, well, I guess you should say you saw it coming. Assassin's Creed having, since post the Origins debacle has supported having male and female protagonists. Mass Effect, of course, going further back, but again in the Legendary Edition that's just come out. So it's really stinking cool, I think. And it says, that not only is this a thing, but that this isn't just on, we're not just talking about fucking Animal Crossing here. We're talking about hard, like mechanically tough games that typically women stayed away from. This is something that, like, you and I, working in music stores and stuff, we see this shit all the time. The male gatekeeping. You want to talk about something that's gate kept by gender more than anything. Let's talk about a guitar store.
And I think video game stores and the video game culture is even worse, unfortunately.
Yeah. No, it's something else. And but what's funny is the difference is I think you're right. The animosity that females face on gaming platforms, particularly online, is pretty bad, but really bad. It's really bad.
Well, allow me to make a quick analogy.
Well, Go ahead. Just finishing my point is that to me is surprising, considering that we now know that the majority of gamers are female, and you look at a hardcore system like the PlayStation and see, there's that strong a presence. It's like, how much longer is this shit going to go on?
Yeah, and there needs to be a culture shift because, in the example you gave before of music stores with gatekeeping, if a girl walked into a Guitar Center and sat down with a guitar and started just fucking shredding, she'd get instant respect from most of the guitar players in the room. They'd be like, wow, she can play. She's really got chops. But even now, today, in 2021, if you're a girl playing Warzone and you're kicking ass, as soon as they notice your name is like female oriented or they hear your voice, they're going to make jokes about fucking make me a sandwich or, you're playing on your boyfriend's console or like, it's so shitty. That shit's got to end, and I hope it happens at some point. Gamergate set it back, unfortunately, but it's the ladies aren't going anywhere, so quit gatekeeping, goddammit.
Yeah. So no, I thought this was a great story and definitely one that I wanted to bring up. As my wife listens to the podcast, I'm sure yours does as well, and both of our spouses play games, and I've been very proud of Amy for tackling more and more difficult games, and so I even see it some in my own household, so it's definitely
Megan
definitely
just started a fresh playthrough on Assassin's Creed, which one is it? Odyssey, okay. Yeah, nice. That one is close to the top of my my backlog queue. So Cassandra's a great lead. She's awesome.
Yeah, I've heard the female acted characters way better. Which, I mean, same thing for Valhalla. That's sort of just I don't know, something about the writing over there at Ubisoft works better that way. Who knows? But it's awesome. I'm all about it. Number 3. I'm calling this section Switcheroo. Looks like we have a few exclusives jumping ship for the opposing consoles, which is fine and probably all in the name of making more money. So this week on Gamatsu, I noted that Oddworld has been rated for Xbox. So it looks like Abe will be heading over to the Xbox. Not terribly surprising there. I know that they already made their money because they did the free thing on PS5, and they got their check, and let's go over to Xbox and get another check. That makes perfect sense to me. The one I was surprised to see is the Xbox exclusive that is coming to PS5, and it's really the only thing of note lately that's been exclusive to the Xbox platform.
Yeah.
So kind of an eyebrow raiser, but the Medium has been rated for PlayStation and will be coming to PS5 presumably, seeing as how the ESRB has rated it. Johnny, you played through all of the Medium. And suffered through its early days of jank.
Correct.
Which were fucking crazy.
Oh my god, dude, that shit on PC in the early days was rough.
It was very rough, but it was a super cool game.
It was cool.
I think we both enjoyed. I enjoyed watching it. You presumably enjoyed playing it because you played it to its end. Had a bit of a wonky ending, but
Yeah, the ending was a bit of a letdown, but
is what it is. Definitely something I would pick up if it makes its way over to PlayStation and I can get a grab me a disc copy of it. What do you think about the Medium heading to PS5?
It is strange for the Medium because this was kind of the only like Xbox One Series X exclusive, like the only one. But I'm not too surprised with either of these. It's two underperforming games. It's not like either one of these were like a huge console mover for either side. So
think about what they both had in common, right? Oddworld, the day it was released, was free on PS5. The Medium,
yep.
The day it was released,
yep, it was on Game Pass.
It was on Game Pass. So, maybe that's the secret sauce here as to why we're seeing this kind of activity is, they gave it away for free on their platform. Well, free, quote unquote, free. They did that. So now is the goal, take it to the other platform and try and pick up some extra bucks. I guess that has to be it, right?
I guess, and I mean, with what we've seen for release windows for PlayStation and Xbox, there's not a whole lot of PS5 exclusives or Xbox One Series X exclusives to look forward to this year.
No, certainly not. So, that one's interesting. I'll keep my eyes peeled, of course, for when any release dates or anything like that get announced.
Well, except for Ratchet and Clank, which I'm going to buy this week. I'm excited.
Yep. Let's see. Number 2. This is one of my favorite stories of the week. A chicken nugget, a chicken McNugget. Sorry, chicken McNugget. That came out of the fryer in the shape of the Among Us character. Sells on eBay for just under $100,000. I had been following this listing all week and followed its meteoric rise to almost $100,000 sale. I think it sold for $99,900 and some odd dollars. For a chicken nugget that would be frozen and shipped, and I think the seller was so gracious as to throw in some of the infamous Szechuan sauce as well.
Well, I mean, you would hope so.
So I don't really think there's any question to ask here, Johnny, but rather, how would you eat your $100,000 chicken nugget?
Oh, I would, if I had the kind of disposable income to where I could spend almost $100,000 on a chicken nugget, I'm definitely going to seal it in epoxy. Like, it's going to be in a cube on a stand and be like, hey, yeah, you remember that Among Us chicken nugget that sold for $100,000? Yeah, that was me. There it is on the shelf.
See,
that's the only thing I'm doing with that.
I would buy the chicken nugget and I would get you to hold my cell phone and take a shitty video of me microwaving it, dipping it in the Szechuan sauce, and biting its little Among Us legs off. And then devouring the rest of the chicken nugget.
Hey, it's 2021. Another option would be you take that video of you eating the $100,000 Among Us nugget and then sell it as an NFT. So now you have a non-fungible token. Somebody can be the proprietary owner of your video of you eating the $100,000 Among Us chicken nugget. You can make your money back and more.
I think I could make millions doing that.
You could.
Then I could buy all of the Among Us chicken nuggets, put them on a chicken nugget space station, and have one of them be the imposter.
That's and decide which one is sus?
We'll decide which one is actually emu. That was a joke instead of chicken. Emu.
I see what you did there.
I apologize. Number 1.
I think we can move on.
Number 1. Our favorite company is back in the news. CD Projekt Red is back, and at the top of my list of news stories for this week, CD Projekt Red has created some rather entertaining videos. Johnny, what did you think about the leaked CD Projekt Red videos that have graced the internet this week?
I mean, my first thought was I wish that they'd put the amount of time into the game as they did into their bug montage. Because the bug montage, it's not just bugs. It's clearly people messing around and doing funny stuff and putting dicks in mouths and all kinds of crazy stuff. And in the article, they were saying that they thought that this was something that CD Projekt Red was planning on releasing. There is no way this was planned on being released. This was programmers and developers having fun with the game and making a funny video to probably share with their friends. I gotta say, a lot of it's really damn funny. And they did like the troll flute whatever to their own theme song. It's the perfect footnote for the cyberpunk story, I think.
Yeah, so for those not in the know, basically, I think it was 3 very long montage videos of, just the game being broken in amusing ways, set to an amusing soundtrack, like complete with troll flute and everything. Were unfortunately for CD Projekt Red, who really didn't have another eye to blacken at this point, but were leaked online, and the general sentiment is that which Johnny just voiced of, why are you guys sitting around making this bullshit when the game that you released is a broken mess? It's like they're making satire of the problem that's plagued this game since its release. That's still kept it off. It's still all these months later, still not available on PlayStation Store.
Well, and I mean, when one of the little snippets is somebody took a hot dog, put hamburger wheels on it, and then they drive it around like a motorcycle. And my whole thought when I saw it was like, how long did that take? Somebody spent at least an hour or 2 on that shit. You couldn't have been unfucking your game instead? The video's funny, but it does annoy me that we got the game that we got while they're making that video.
Well, and they're all extraordinarily paid at this point as well. Even though their stocks are tanking and everything else, they don't care. I don't know if you've been into a Best Buy recently. I still frequent Best Buy quite a bit. I've always loved that store. But when you go into Best Buy, you know how when you get up to checkout at a Best Buy, behind the cashiers, they have like the games that they don't want you to steal, basically, in the little cabinets or whatever. Well, there's nothing left in those cabinets. They are wiped dry, with one exception. There is a shit ton of PS4 Cyberpunk 2077s that nobody will buy. Just waiting there.
Ugh.
It's like nothing. Holy shit, that's a ton of Cyberpunk 2077. Nothing.
Oh, how the mighty have fallen.
Yeah. So I'm very glad I bought my copy, because I imagine those are bound for a dumpster at some point.
They'll put them next to the Atari ET cartridges.
Yeah. They'll do what retailers do: open, destroy, toss. Open, destroy, toss. But they've got a lot of discs that they're going to have to cut up there. So if you are like myself and banking that someday the PS4 version that is a broken mess could be worth something, you can probably still go pick it up before they all get thrown out. So do that how you will. I bought my copy used so that I would not be giving them any new money. But if you don't have the moral opposition that I do and would like to go buy a new copy, by all means, do what you want with your money. That wraps up our first feature 5. In weeks where I cannot think of a pick 3, expect feature 5 to show up, where we'll go over some of the
I like
cool
it.
news articles. So let us.
Yeah, we're not pounding over an hour and a half worth of news articles either. It's just the highlights.
Yeah, just a couple of couple ones that I wanted to talk about. That's all the feature 5 will ever be. So next up, we sort of alluded to this earlier. You had said mentioned good old Ratchet and Clank, which I am still pumped for. What day does that game come out, Johnny?
I believe the 10th. So I think in 3 days.
In 3 days.
The 10th or the 11th. Let me Google it.
Let us find out, because we are also planning to go see Quiet Place 2 this upcoming fine weekend, sir. And Ratchet and Clank is that's a game I want to come see, because it looks mind-bending from at least the video shown.
It looks like a damn Pixar movie. It looks bonkers. I can't wait. Yeah, it's the 11th.
Okay, cool. So this is turning into a very significant game. I mean, other than, from what us Focal have seen, that it really takes advantage of the next gen hardware that is packed into a PS5, and quite frankly, in the demos that we've seen, does things that just other systems can't do. So
yep, and they announced actually this week, right before the game came out, that the day one update includes a performance ray tracing mode, so you'll be able to do 60 frames a second with ray tracing.
Jesus.
Yes, please.
Well, this is all very exciting, and I certainly can't wait to see it. However, this week's main topic is called "We Believe in Generations." We believe in generations. That's a quote from Jim Ryan, who heads PlayStation here in the United States. I want to read you a quote from Jim Ryan from a few. I think it was a few years ago. Jim Ryan says, "We have always said that we, Sony, believe in generations. We believe that when you go to all the trouble of creating a next-gen console, that it should include features and benefits that the previous generation does not include. And that, in our view, people should make games that can make the most of those features. We do believe in generations, and whether it's the DualSense controller, whether it's the 3D audio, whether it's the multiple ways that the SSD can be used, we are thinking that it is time to give the PlayStation community something new, something different that can really only be enjoyed on PS5. Now, those words seem to ring very true for, in particular, Ratchet and Clank. I feel like everything we've seen from it, the loading times for warping between worlds, what's that powered by? Probably the proprietary SSD, Johnny?
Yes.
Between that, the DualSense controller, which we've seen really used, implemented well in Returnal, presumably this upcoming Ratchet and Clank game as well. Certainly the few games that have come out that are truly exclusive to PS5 seem to hold up to this promise. I began to notice, though, as I was thumbing through the news this week, that there was an announcement that I personally was a bit surprised on. There was 2 games that are coming out next year that were confirmed this week, that they would also be coming out on PS4, so not just PlayStation 5, but also PlayStation 4. And the two games that this news came out for, I'm not going to lie, it really surprised me. One more so than the other. Ironically, I was less surprised about God of War Ragnarok, but I was very surprised to see that the new Gran Turismo game is going to be coming to PS4 and PS5. So it's not going to be a system exclusive to the new console. And, in terms of Gran Turismo, this is an unprecedented move that's never been done before. And really seems to walk back Jim Ryan's statement about Generations.
Yeah, it is very strange. I mean, it makes sense for 2021. I mean, when they announced, I always thought Horizon Forbidden West would probably be PS4, PS5. That didn't surprise me. But God of War and Gran Turismo coming out next year, I would have thought, I mean, if I were betting on it, I would have said, they'll be PS5 exclusive. They want you to buy the new hardware, But I think this might also just be a reaction to the fact that people still can't get these consoles.
What's interesting is that's a point I've seen brought up quite a bit.
Yeah.
But then I've also seen that at this point in its life cycle, in the PS5's life cycle, more people own PS5s than owned PS4s when it was at the same point in its life cycle.
Yeah, that's true.
And, I mean, you just go back one system after another, PS4, PS3, Nintendo Wii. Nintendo didn't hold up Mario Galaxy for the GameCube when nobody could get a Wii. They said, no, we're putting it out on just the Wii.
That's true.
So this is really, I think, very surprising. What we're seeing.
I think there's two sides to it. I think number one, as the technology gets better and as these things increase, they're going to be more of an incremental thing. I think the days of us getting a video game console where everything looks completely unlike what we've ever seen before, the reaction you and I had when we saw Mario 64 for the first time,
right,
was like, whoa, it's actual 3D? I can move a camera? What? Those days are gone, and all it's going to be is, the next console is going to come out, and it's going to have a new shadow technology and a new whatever, and it supports 8K. But now that they've basically everything's kind of PC oriented as far as the hardware, it's the same as if I got a 3080 for my PC. I'm going to be able to play all the same games, but I'm going to be able to turn every setting up. I'm going to be able to crank all the max settings. I'd be able to play it on a 4K monitor. It's clearly an upgrade, but it's not a completely different system.
Well, this seems to be what Microsoft has understood and embraced with their platform. That from the start, that Xbox One would support, the games that are coming out for Series X, Series S. The part that's, I guess, the walk back that I wasn't expecting is, Sony's leadership. Jim Ryan came out, and I mean, he said other stuff too in the past, besides this, but that famous quote of "We believe in generations." This is the same guy that came out and said, in opposition to backwards compatibility, who wants to sit around and play Gran Turismo 2 and Gran Turismo 3 when, there's the new version out? Like, who would want to go back and waste their time playing these old versions of the games that look bad? This is that same guy.
Yeah.
And, he set up a fair point, even though I don't typically agree with him on much, but he set up a fair point of, we want our games to use DualSense. We want our games to use 3D audio. We want our games to use the SSD. And
Yep.
we have more consoles in people's houses than we did during PS4. We have more consoles in people's houses than Nintendo did with the Wii. But why is it then that games like Gran Turismo 7 are going to be a split release that is next year? You've got your PS5. You were really gung-ho and really wanted one, and it kicks ass. I mean, the thing's cool, but
it does.
I've sort of been playing this game of I'm not getting one until I have to. And I'm beginning to feel my heels digging in more and more as I see stuff like this happen. It's like, if you guys want me to go out and spend, go through the bullshit of buying a PS5, which is what trying to get one is right now. It's a complete calamity.
Yep.
If you want me to go through that bullshit, and you've already sold more of these than you have PS4 up to this point in its life cycle. So people got them. People have the system. So if you want me to go through the trouble of trying to get one, but then every game you're going to put out, I could just play on my old PS4. I'm a tolerant person. I can put up with 30 frames per second. I can put up with a lower resolution. I don't really have any issue with that. I can deal. And, Gran Turismo is one of those series where Polyphony does a damn fine job of optimizing to the lowest common denominator. And I think that's ultimately what you're going to be seeing. And I guess mainly the real problem is developers are going to have to optimize for the lowest common denominator if they don't want to become the next CD Projekt Red.
Yep.
There was a news article that came out this week that I sort of lumped in with this segment that had to do with Horizon Forbidden West. We're well aware that Horizon Forbidden West is coming to PS4 at this point. But what was interesting is on Push Square, they actually had put up an article talking about Guerrilla Games' interview with Game Informer. And Guerrilla Games basically came out and said that they're doing the playtesting on PS4 so that they can ensure that owners of PS4s have a great experience and that the game looks great on that console. The PS5 is going to have a few tweaks. They can add more detail. I think it's going to have a different rendering technique for underwater scenes.
Yeah, they said the water's way different.
And that it'll take use of the adaptive triggers. But, it seems like more or less the core gameplay is going to be pretty similar between the two systems. What are your thoughts on this? That with game developers having to, I guess, play to the worst hand dealt, basically.
Well, I think there's going to be a lot of things announced in the next 60 days on both sides. I mean, we are still knee deep in a console war right now. It's June. All of these guys are planning their holiday 2021.
We have E3 coming up, next week, I think?
And we have E3 coming up. Think about it. I mean, Returnal, I don't even think we knew existed until February.
Yeah.
I mean, it was something like that. I mean, it was a game we'd never heard of, and then it's like, yeah, it's coming out in 2 months. I think Sony is sitting on some shit, and I think Microsoft is sitting on some shit. I think in the next 60 days, especially at E3, I think there's going to be some big bombshell, Series X exclusives, PS5 exclusives. I think they're coming.
Yeah, I wonder what Sony is going to end up doing, because Sony proper is not participating in E3 this year.
I'm sure they're going to do their own thing, and they're going to drop a whole bunch of shit on us. And
yeah, because they did the little state of play with Forbidden West, where they gave us a ton of shit to talk about last week. But yeah, no, it's
I don't see them strolling into the 2021 holiday season going, well, here's Horizon Forbidden West, everybody. It's what you guys wanted.
Yeah.
There you go. Merry Christmas. That's not going to happen.
They need some ammunition at this point for sure, because
they do.
I think what we were saying before the show is, once Ratchet and Clank comes out, what else is there?
On the boards right now, nothing really.
In terms of,
as far as PS5 exclusive,
yeah. In terms of a PS5 exclusive, like that's it. We know Horizon's going both platforms. We know God of War is. We know Gran Turismo 7 is going to. Those are.
Do you think they're sitting on an Uncharted game that's almost done?
I don't. Because Naughty Dog just finished development of Last of Us Part 2 last year.
Yeah, that's true.
So I don't think they are going to have anything ready to go for, a couple years at least, because they had Uncharted 4 and Last of Us Part 2 like in very quick succession.
I'm just trying to think of like what would be a holy shit PlayStation announcement. I know. I feel like all the big shit is.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is it's.
I don't know.
It's more about when it comes to trying to figure that out. You always have to look at the game studios. What game studios are there, and when was the last time those game studios put something out?
Well, there was a rumor. I can't remember if it was this week or last week. There was a rumor that there is a BioShock 4 in development. It's an open world game, and the same rumor said that it may be a PlayStation console exclusive for PlayStation 5. That would be a big one. If they say, here's BioShock 4, it comes out in November.
Yeah. Because I know, Bethesda had some exclusive games coming up.
Yeah. But
even those, like Deathloop, is also coming out on Windows at release.
Yep.
And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Ghostwire Tokyo, they walked back on, and that's actually going to come out on Series X and Series S now. That it's not just going to be a PS5 game at this point. That acquisition of Bethesda really...
That is correct. I just Googled it. Yep.
Really changed some stuff. And I think before the show we were talking about Kena, Bridge of Spirits, but I know that game is also supposed to come to both platforms, PS4 and PS5,
Yep.
So I think Ratchet and Clank is really, honest to God, I think that's it at this point in terms of like actual console exclusivity, besides Deathloop, which we could say.
I think they've got a new IP, first party, a new IP we've never seen before that's going to knock our socks off and is going to come out before the holiday season. I'm going to put it out there because there have been rumors that Sony first party titles, they have 25 games in development.
Yeah, no, that's true.
That's a lot.
Yeah, because we know, like the big guns are Polyphony, Guerrilla,
Insomniac, Naughty Dog, right?
San Diego, which they mainly do MLB, but they've been rumored to be working on an Uncharted game, so that could be it, possibly. Santa Monica, but we know that they're busy on God of War Ragnarok.
Yep.
And then Sucker Punch. It could be Sucker Punch. Maybe it's Sucker Punch.
I'm gonna call it right now, and my calls have been very good on this show.
Okay, let's hear it.
I have called a lot of shit. 60 to 90 days from now, there's going to be at least 2 or 3 holy shit titles for both consoles. I do not see Microsoft and Sony strolling into the holiday season with what's already on the release docket. Something else big is going to come out and be exclusive for each console. Guaranteed. Guaranteeing it right now. I don't see any possible way that they're just going to stroll into the holiday season with what they've already got. There has to be a push.
Yeah.
And right now there's not.
Yeah, I got fixated on Sucker Punch for a moment, but I'm like, oh yeah, duh, Ghost of Tsushima. But they have some IPs that have been laying dormant for a long time. We haven't had an Infamous game since 2014, and I can't even remember how long it's been since we had Sly Cooper. And Sly
Cooper would be cool.
Sly Cooper needs to make a comeback.
Oh yeah, I love Sly Cooper. That's a very underrated franchise.
Yeah, but no, yeah. So Sucker Punch did Ghost of Tsushima, so they're sort of on the off cycle right now. Maybe see a new game from them in 2-3 years tops, something like that.
I would imagine they're probably working on a sequel for Ghost. That game was too big for them.
I would really like to see, if Insomniac, because Miles Morales didn't really. It just built off of the old Spider-Man game, so I don't think that took a ton out of them.
Oh, dude, you just called it. You just called it. That is the big franchise that they need a big announcement for. They're going to announce Spider-Man 2, and it's going to come out before holidays, and it's going to be PlayStation 5 exclusive. You just called it. That's what it is.
I'm thinking Spider-Man, yeah.
That's absolutely it. Because the Miles Morales was cool, but they'd been working on it for a very long time. And let's face it, it's just an expansion. It's just a DLC.
Yeah, and
that's all it is.
Insomniac does more than Spider-Man, though, too. That's the game studio that did Spyro. Ratchet and Clank, though. So maybe not. Maybe not. Because, yeah, Ratchet and Clank, that's them, isn't it? Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, Ratchet and Clank is them. They were Spyro, Ratchet and Clank, and Resistance. Who is it?
Damn it. I don't know. It's somebody. I'm telling you, there's no way. I'm calling it right now. On June 6, 2021, there is some big shit that both of these companies are sitting on.
Quantic Dream, maybe? I don't know.
It's something. Something big is coming and is going to be announced before the holiday season and is going to be an exclusive to the PlayStation 5, and there's going to be something else that's going to be an exclusive for the Xbox. There's just no way. There's no way they go into the holidays without something else big that they're sitting on and they've been working on in secret and nobody knows it even exists. I mean, they dropped Returnal on us out of the blue.
They did pick up the rights, I think, for Sunset Overdrive, which should be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, that's not a big console mover, though.
You don't think so? I thought that was one of the only bright points for the Xbox One.
Just because it was one of the only ones, I don't think it moved a lot of consoles for them. I could be wrong.
No,
but
you're probably not. That was.
I mean, that was when it's the only feather in your cap. Yeah, you're going to point it out, but no, they've got some big shit coming. I think Microsoft's going to announce another Gears of War.
Yes, yeah, they are.
And I think Sony is going to announce a Spider-Man game and an Uncharted game. That's my two theories.
If there's an Uncharted announcement, I will lose my fucking mind because I love Uncharted.
Me too.
But B, I'd also be very surprised because I know that Naughty Dog is working on the multiplayer world for Last of Us. So I don't know. I just don't know. We'll have to wait and see because, I mean, the speculation we're having right now could just run completely unhinged.
Oh, we could talk about this for 3 hours, but it's going to happen. I'm calling it now. There's some big announcements we haven't heard, and there's going to be a handful for 2021.
All right. Well, so I guess to sort of recap, and the final thought though is, there has to be something. There's got to be something on the horizon. There's
Absolutely.
just no way that the leadership at Sony with their hardline stance on the generation bit doesn't have something cooking. Because again, ladies and gentlemen, once Ratchet comes out at the end of this week, that is presently it in terms of exclusivity for the PS5. That Gran Turismo announcement was really surprising. So
yeah, no, I did some Googling. I think I found like an anime action game that's PS5 exclusive, but nothing big.
Would I know its name off the top of my head?
No, you wouldn't.
All right. Well, I think on that note, it is time for us to move on to our final segment of the week. Johnny, what is the name of that segment? That is right. It is time for One Up. I think we're going to do One Up a little bit differently this week, actually, because I think something special happened that we probably both want to talk about.
Oh, yeah.
Both want to talk about quite a lot, actually. So this week's One Up, ladies and gentlemen, hopefully you will take to heart, you will take very seriously, and you will understand that me and Johnny don't always disagree, but it's rare for us to agree super strongly unless it is absolutely correct. And we both seem to be eye to eye that you need to watch Bo Burnham's new special on Netflix, Inside.
Yes.
Inside is
required viewing.
Perhaps one of the best films. I mean, definitely of the year. It's easily the best film that I've seen this year.
Yep.
But it probably is one of the best pieces of film I've ever seen in my entire life. And I think part of it, it's a comedy special that Bo Burnham has recorded, over the past year and so many months of the pandemic, being isolated in what looks like a very small room, a studio apartment, if you will, basically trapped in there with his instruments, and his own creativity and his boredom. And it's truly remarkable what he has put together on film here by himself.
Yeah, it's I think it's the most important piece of art that's going to come out of the COVID-19 pandemic. It's currently my top choice for film of the year. And the fact that I'm saying that about a dude that I was kind of somewhat aware of, like, I knew who he was. I knew he was the guy that sat at pianos and sang songs. I think I'd seen one of his specials. I thought he was funny. I didn't think he was like the greatest thing ever. So I didn't come at this as like a huge Bo Burnham fan. I'd heard a lot of hype about it, and I sat down and watched it. And I watched it the next day, and I watched it a couple days later, and I've had probably 10 of the 19 songs on the movie stuck in my head, and it's such a smart commentary on what the internet age has done to us and is doing to our children, and how it's a really, really smart commentary on content creation in general. There was always the entertainer in the form of you're on a stage with a spotlight on you and people pay money to see you entertain. But now with the inclusion of social media and Twitch and YouTube and all these other different platforms, kids growing up right now have an audience, and they have a closer relationship with their camera than they do with real people. Even though that camera does in a weird way communicate the essence of you and who you are, it's a fake version of you, right? It's not you. So how much time are you spending every day playing this character that you think you're supposed to play so that your audience, i.e. your Facebook friends, your Twitter followers, your Instagram followers, your Twitch followers, your YouTube subscribers, your whatever, it's such an amazing film, and I think it's one of the most incredible singular pieces of art that I've ever seen, where one person sat down and made something by himself. No one else. There is no one else in the credits. He filmed and shot and edited and lit and projected, and just, it's incredible. It's fucking incredible. And as a musician and as a content creator, it is all inspiringly creative. It's so smart.
Yeah,
it gets better on multiple watches too, I gotta say.
One of the things that's kind of gripping about it is particularly just on the first time that you watch it, is you don't know whether or not he's gonna survive making this film.
Yeah.
Like there's certain points in watching it where, like, literally I'm sitting there going, he's going to blow his brains out, and that's going to be how this ends. That's going to be the roll credits movie moment, is Bo Burnham blowing his brains out. Like, that's going to be how it ends. And, like, not like comically doing it, but like for real doing it. That's the gist of this movie. And, like, it has so many interesting points of commentary on society. And one of the most jarring ones is actually his commentary on how people try to talk to people who are suicidal. That whole segment.
Just don't. Come on, guys.
Yeah, and it's really something else that he found a way to put that into words in a way that makes sense. And there's a ton of that in this.
There is. And while he's doing that, one thing I noticed on the second viewing is there is more than one character in this film. There is Bo Burnham, there is the camera, and there is the audience. There are several times in this where he's watching a projection, and in those moments, he is playing the audience, right? So in the scene where you're talking about, where he's talking about suicide and, how he felt when the close friends of his committed suicide, while that's happening, the projection is on himself, so you see him on it, like it looks like it's on his shirt, right? The person that it's projecting on is the audience, and during that scene, he's playing on his phone, and, like, doesn't look happy, and is kind of not really paying attention to the conversation, and is just staring at his phone while someone pours their heart out on a TV show. And that's yet another commentary of, like, what does it take to get people's attention? He has a song about, like, are you bored? Are you playing on your phone? Don't tell me, I don't want to know. It's so fucking brilliant. And, like, the YouTube reaction.
Yes.
That shit killed me. And I mean, there is stuff in here that is so funny, and there's stuff in here that is so dark.
It's
so
incredibly dark.
Beautifully balanced.
Yeah, it gets real dark. But I thought the funniest part was the white woman's Instagram song.
Yes.
It's not just the song. Like, the song's whatever. Who cares? The song is a vehicle for his comedy. Yeah. The thing that's hilarious is his cinematography, and, like, how
dude,
on his own he's just, like, nailing all of these dumb recurring fucking shots that we see on Instagram.
Yes.
Like he's just knocking them out of the park. And it's not just like,
I know.
not just like the color and like the quality and this and that. Like he's like nailing the poses and stuff as
the poses, the faces.
As a dude. You know, it's just it's absolutely out of control comedy. Like it's unhinged. It's way too funny to be like, you can't believe that he's pulling it off, basically. And it's that feeling the whole time. It's like, how is he pulling this off? You know, he's like got his, in one scene he's got all these like we used to sell this shit, the lighting controls that like are on foot pedals to like do the lighting in the room. But like at one point he's dancing between like the foot pedals, but then also using like the flashlight on his phone to like create like a strobe effect.
It's so fucking
and
cool.
It looks perfect. Like it looks,
I know,
perfect. I mean, completely perfect. And you have to pinch yourself several times throughout the course of the special to remember that, holy shit, this is like legitimately just him in his room, going crazy, you know, thinking about killing himself. Like that's what we're watching, and it's insanity. Like it's really something that if we haven't convinced you already, like you just must sit down and watch this.
Yeah,
I thought I thought the part where, like, again, another one of the like most brilliant scenes in this. He's a Twitch streamer, like he's playing the role of a Twitch streamer, and instead of playing a video game, he's playing a video game character over him being a Twitch streamer, narrating playing the video game character that's actually his real life. I'm sitting here trying to explain it, and like literally I can't find the words to describe this sequence. It's just,
the banter was so perfect.
Just nailed.
He's like, I mean, this actually looks pretty good. I mean, I know it's a cinematic, but I mean the graphics are pretty good.
He's sitting there with the Switch Pro controller.
Oh my god. I mean, it's just it is. This is one of those very, very few comedy specials that people are going to be talking about 10 years from now, 20 years from now. I mean, it's that significant.
The sock puppet.
Oh my God, Sacco! Holy fuck.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, Sacco's rant happens and you just go, whew, okay, there that was.
The sexting song.
Oh my God. I've watched it 3 times. I'm going to watch it more. The Jeffrey Bezos song is like 30 seconds and kills me every time.
Yeah, it's absolutely, guys, if you're listening, please go watch this. This is like, it's almost Fight Club level for me. Like, you have to see this, I think, to understand how my brain works now, because my brain works differently after seeing it than it did before I saw it.
And did you notice there was a Fight Club Easter egg in it?
I did not. Oh, multiple viewer, please tell me.
In the first like third of the film, there's one scene where he's sitting in his computer, he's trying to work on something, and you see the Twitch streamer, Bo Burnham, pop into the corner of the screen for 1 frame.
Oh, nice.
It's a total Tyler Durden Easter egg. 100%.
Yeah, I guess the last scene I want to call out, the one that really stuck with me. I mean, again, it's just brilliance. He's sitting on a stool. He has a stool next to him that has a clock. And he's filming the moments, his last moments of his 20s. Like, he films the moment he turns 30 by himself, like in the dark, in this room. Like that, it's one of the darkest parts of the whole movie.
Yeah, and I felt that. I mean, because I had 2 birthdays during the pandemic where I wasn't able to get people together. I wasn't able to throw a party. And one of them was my 40th.
Yeah.
I mean, I got to have dinner with my parents, but it wasn't, I mean, that wasn't what I wanted to do.
We were supposed to do
if I had a
game
choice
night.
between
That was supposed to be the thing.
Something. Yeah. I know. And so, yeah, I mean, he captured, I think, the anxiety that we all went through during the pandemic. I mean, he just like perfectly encapsulated that. And then on top of that, I mean, there's a lot of really smart commentary on the current digital age and internet age and what's it going to do to us in the long run. And we don't know. I mean, I hate to sound like a boomer, but I do worry about like the younger generation and their goddamn phones.
Yeah, they're a mess. I think the thing this helped reveal for me is, and you and I are kind of in the same boat here. We're both married. We both have families, and what we didn't go through was being stuck through this whole thing in solitary. And that's sort of what this hammers on really, really well, is like just the aloneness that some people went through. Where they didn't have other people, living in their house. Imagine if you went through the whole past year, and your only interactions with people were like on Skype or Zoom or whatever. Yeah. The overwhelming majority of the time, it was just you by yourself.
Well, and you got to think of the pressure of that. I mean, you got signed to do a Netflix deal, and at some point you just went, well, you know what? Fuck it. I got a budget. I can just do it myself.
Yeah.
I know how to record myself with audio, so I can teach myself lighting. I can teach myself video editing. I'll just fuck it. I'll just do it myself.
Yeah.
And then the realization hits when you're 6 months in and you're a year in and you're still fucking working on it. And then, he has another moment where he's like, you know what? I'm never going to finish it. And I'm not talking to anybody. I'm just talking to myself. So, fuck you, and I'm never going to finish. I'm just going to stay in here and work on this for the rest of my life.
Yeah. So, Bo Burnham's Netflix special, Inside. Please give it a watch. We can't recommend it strongly enough.
Really something special, guys. Seriously.
Yep. So that wraps up this week's episode of the Power Gamer Podcast, episode 18 in the books. We will be back again next week, of course, with another great episode. Until then, I'm Mike Dawson.
And I'm Johnny Poulos.
Tune in next time. Take care.
Catch ya on the flip-flop. Ooh, yeah.
The Power Gamer Podcast has been brought to you by listeners like you. If you would like to directly support the podcast, please visit us at www.patreon.com/PowerGamerPodcast and consider directly supporting our show. You can find us online at facebook.com/PowerGamerPodcast and on Twitter at PowerGamerCast. If you'd like to email the show with your questions or comments, please write to PowerGamerPodcast@gmail.com. Please follow our show on Spotify, Google Podcasts, or iTunes. Thanks so much for listening, and we hope you tune in again for next week's episode.